We have more on the information from the massive security failure at the rally where former President Donald Trump was shot. During a press briefing last week, acting Secret Service Director Ronald Rowe said that the Secret Service had no agents stationed in a local police command center where radio dispatchers warned of a man with a gun who was on the roof 130 yards from where President Trump was speaking.
It was so apparent to me that in this incident, in the final 30 seconds, which has been the focus of what happened before the assailant opened fire, there was clearly radio transmissions that may have happened on that local radio net that we did not have. And so we have to do a better job of co-locating, leveraging that counterpart system, and this is going to drive our operations going forward.
So, Chad, every situation is different, but should there have been Secret Service agents in the local police command center? Is that typical protocol?
Very typical. This is not, he just so flippantly said that, that was our bad, our bust. We're going to change this moving forward. There was no way in any reasonable scenario that should have took place. I mean, one, it wasn't the last 30 seconds. It was 2 hours and 9 minutes. This guy was on the ground, spotted as a suspicious person, I think 4:36 p.m., 2 hours and 9 minutes before he fired off the shot. Then he's seen firing a laser range fire. Then he's seen climbing the roof, on the roof, almost 20 minutes before the shot was fired with a rifle. Police are over the radios announcing it amongst themselves. And the Secret Service had no idea. Why didn't they have idea? That's very important. Why they didn't have idea. One is because they had a briefing scheduled with local law enforcement, with the sniper teams, the counter sniper teams, and the Secret Service. They blew that meeting off. There was never a meeting that took place between the Secret Service and local law enforcement. Furthermore, they didn't have any inter-team communications. Even a local police department, if they're going to do a search warrant and it's multi-agencies, maybe the state police, the sheriff's department, the local police department, they're going to have one channel of communications that they can all communicate. This was the Secret Service that completely failed to have this meeting, and I can't understand why. There's no excuse for it whatsoever. Additionally, if you go further back than 30 seconds, if you go back to the advanced party, which would do the security vulnerability assessment or the surveillance vulnerability assessment, they would have identified the principal's going to be standing here. President Trump's going to be standing here giving a speech. Where are the vulnerable points? Where are the most likely avenues where someone can harm the principal? Well, there's a building 136 yards away, and it has a pitched rooftop, which is perfect for a sniper position because it has cover and concealment. And they would have not only put Overwatch or counter sniper team looking at that building. In this case, they should have put people on that roof. The excuse came from Director Cheadle that it was sloped, which is ridiculous. I don't know if this lady has Christmas lights on her house, right? But sloped roof. And she said she put people inside. But now we know that the 3 officers you said was inside, one of them left. The other 2 were locked out of the building because of their key card. This was a complete catastrophe. It's very hard for the American people to believe, and me included, that this was just incompetence by the agency that's supposed to be the very best in the world at this. And there's not some level of complicity even. I mean, I won't speculate to what level, but an individual, an agency, I mean, people's mind wanders and stuff like this when you get someone controversial as a president of the United States on both sides, but particularly President Trump. And they have some answers beyond just giving the excuse that our bad, we're going to do it better next time. No, that's not good enough.
Chad, to get to the truth of this, I'm curious, we know all this information coming out and it's all pretty much horrendous. What part of this disturbs you the most, or where would your top 2 or 3 questions be to sort of unravel the case?
I think the main thing is the advanced party, that they would have identified that rooftop. Why was any competent advanced party? I was a senior program manager for the State Department for the surveillance detection team, and we did the same exact thing for ambassadors and RSOs. Anybody has any bit of competence would have said this rooftop is the most dangerous position. And in that case, when there's only 1 or 2 points like that, you're going to have manpower on there. So why? Who made the decision? And this was asked by Senate. Who made the decision not to have people in that rooftop? Whoever made that decision needs to be talked to. And they should lose their job, first of all. But they need to be talked to because that would have been against what the protocol would have been for handling this advance. So that's a very important thing. Secondly, who canceled the meeting to have inter-team communications with the local law enforcement? And then third, who denied President Trump's request for more security detail and gave him not the A team or the B team, they gave him the Z team. And it's tough for me as someone who loves our law enforcement to point my finger at someone in hindsight and say they did a bad job, but they did a horrible job. The Secret Service did not do a good job. President Trump thanked them. He said they did a great job, and he should say that, but I'll say it for him. They did a terrible job. The fact that when he was on that stage and the picture you have up there right now, him holding his hand and pumping his fist, I love that. It made chills come down my spine. It made me want to get in the fight too. But President Trump should have never got that photo opportunity, because when they took that shot, they should have moved him off that stage so fast that not only did he not have his shoes on his feet, his socks would have came off too. He's wanting to go back for his shoes. He's wanting to get this photo op. You get him off the X, you move him. And he should have been moved off that stage immediately. He was not in charge anymore. He's not the president at that point. He's a principal. Get him off the stage. And any good detail for the Secret Service, a CAT team, would have knew to get him off that X and get him off the stage. And so there's so many questions. If you asked the top three for me, it'd be the people that made those decisions to put those things in place. Which ultimately, look, people say assassination attempt. Crook shot the president of the United States. He was shot. And another American was killed. They're going to have we have to have answers for this. And I don't think the Secret Service should get off saying.
The Secret Service, the FBI, we know we're not going to get answers from them. I do know that Congress is putting together a task force, but it's interesting to me, Chad, that Representative Corey Mills and Representative Eli Crane are not on that task force, and yet both of them have traveled independently to Butler, Pennsylvania themselves. Yeah,
when people went on news hits and people went to back to D.C., Corey Mills and Eli Crane, both sitting U.S. congressmen, got on a plane. They flew to Butler, Pennsylvania, and they started looking at what went wrong. And they identified some major, major concerns. And these two guys, so like Eli Crane is a 14-year Navy SEAL combat veteran. Congressman Corey Mills is a former State Department employee who was on a counter sniper team and has done over 1,000 advances like this in real life. They are the most qualified people in Congress to be part of this investigation. So why were they let off? That's a question that should be asked, and it should be. And if it points back to Mike Johnson, so be it. Whoever it comes back to should have to answer, why were these two people left off? They are the most qualified people, to the point to where I support them, and they're doing an independent investigation. And I will personally, out of my own pocket, give money to their independent investigation, because I have more confidence in that than I do from a investigation from our house.
Chad, that makes a lot of sense to me. I look forward to seeing news about that. If they get this off the ground, it'd be interesting to see what they uncover. It's important, though, because most of the media, you can already see, I suspect, is leaving this story. I mean, you don't hear much about it. Do you have any thoughts about that, the media's role in this and its role afterwards?
Well, and no offense to you guys, I love the Blaze and love Glenn. We don't really have media anymore. I mean, there's no really good objective journalism anymore. I mean, outside of networks like the Blaze that are private and podcasts. I mean, these mainstream outlets, and I say that as I'm a contributor for Fox News. I love having a platform and a voice there. But Fox News, MSNBC, ABC, CNN, a lot of the hosts on there are not saying the truth. They're not doing real journalism anymore, and they don't want to talk about the truth. They go along with whatever talking points they're given in their brief sheet for the day, and that's dangerous. Not just for these outlets, it's dangerous for America. It's dangerous for our world. Our society needs people that hold people accountable and speak the truth. And look, this is the first attempted assassination in the United States for a president in 40 years. In 40 years, this should be. It should be like every bit of every turn in the investigation should be on the news. It's like if you have I forget the lady. I remember when that lady killed her baby, and I mean, everybody's glued to the television because it was on television, and everyone's watching the trial and wanted to know what was going to happen. And or Scott Peterson when that happened, right? This is the president of the United States and the front runner for the next president of the United States. We know he's the front runner. Somebody tried to shoot him, and they did shoot him. They shot him in the face. Like, we should be glued to the TV, and the news media should be putting it in front of us so the American people could stay informed. But they don't want that to happen because there's some very important questions that are unanswered. There's some real concerns, and those concerns tie back to the United States government. And the United States government is clearly has influence over our mainstream media outlets.